You may ask yourself, am I actually going live again? I already went live today. Am I going live again? Yeah, maybe just for a few hours. Just to finish up. This is probably going to be the last stuff I do. I had a nap. I didn't really eat, but I had this smoothie, which is already getting gross after a day. It's 2 flavors now, but I had it. And I'm just going to go live for a while. It's not going to be for very long. This late at night. Actually, let me see what it does like. Just do a couple of minutes before bed, and I figure I might as well go. I'm pushing a lot. Going down not much more of this. Probably should have had another actual meal in this somewhere. Pretty late, huh? You can eat it as a meal, huh? I'll say that. Nobody's actually watching that. So if you're watching this later, I actually do put this up for playback. It is late. I stopped because I needed a break and things. Just getting pretty messed up. There's so much into it. There's something weird. There's a dripping sound, which I think is somehow coming from upstairs neighbor. It's not like any of my suits are dripping. My door suits are there. Not that interesting, but that's one to talk about. Now, in theory, I have another zigzag attack that I might follow with. At least the thinking of it is probably crazy not Photoshop that will need to be done because I've inked a crazy amount of material all over pages in the period. Okay. It's been cooler today. Which is a crinkle. Oh, the stream has a crinkle. It's cooler all day today. For some reason. We've been inching towards 100 degrees. But it isn't perfect. The rings are just a little sort of space before the rings turn up. I sort of drawing the ring bearings in there. This is not a very ambiguous drawing. It's pretty clear. But there's always little ways, little subtleties to it. Miss some people. Have to be very careful. I'm purposely using my last looking 01 pins, which I think I should have actually bought more 01 pins rather than 3 pins. I found a big packet of 3 pins and I said, oh, that's great, about 3 pins. Everyone's reliable. They're not too thick, they're not too thin, so it can fall through. I actually can get more precision from an 01, at least for a while. These pens do start to fray a bit thicker. I always thought of 3 was more durable. Difference in line thickness is insignificant to a certain point. But I think this is the two things. Just screwed up. Still not up. Breathing to myself. I gotta get rid of it. That, but it sort of whistles when I snip that. Not great. some sort of thing. I was kind of getting to the point where I was feeling a little bit sick. Very minor cold. I think that's just kind of when you're pushing your body too far. It only has a few ways to signal to you that it's not okay with you. You get what feel like the same mild symptoms, but anything. I'm just kind of pushing my luck. Not too much. Work I've been doing on this, but I do have a strong work ethic, but I'm also easily distracted by social media and whatnot, so I usually don't get all that much done on a day. But these sort of long inking sessions, I'm on stream, so I'm forcing myself to work because thing. But even if that weren't the case, I'm unhooked from social media. It's weird. I really have that temptation that I would have. Hello. When I'm working on the computer, I might have that temptation to go on social media, but on stream, I'm just drawing a sheet of paper. I'm just going to be working straight. And there we have it. That is finished, I think. Speaking of zigzag, oh, this is printed too small. Are you kidding me? This is printed too small. I guess this is a similar size, but come on, that deserved a larger print than that. Oh yeah, that deserved a larger print than that. Me too. Well, I'm gonna see what I can do with this, but I feel like I printed this too small. But I am using the 01. So let's see how precise I can be. Let's see. How much have I learned from inking 100 pages of this stuff? How much have I? It's too small. You can just see. Should it be? There's gonna be audio is not good. Why is audio not good? I haven't listened to the audio on Livestream. But why is the audio not good? That's unfortunate, if true. Well, let's I wonder. How about, can I change me? Oh god, I hate fucking, hate Windows. When audio is not clear. Oh. Are we sure about that? Windows sucks. Run up that road, up that hill. Format, DVD quality, input font. I think that's all I've got. It's not giving me a lot of. It's not giving me a lot of options. I think I have to also take the gain down a bit. Cause hello? Yeah, that's too loud now. I don't know. I think I just did increase the volume a bit. The gain has been very high. I don't really listen to this. I haven't listened to these videos. I've just been working on this shit. So, I don't know, I think I printed this too small. I'm not really happy with what I'm doing. Now it's something good? Okay. Okay. I did boost the level a little. So I guess we got that going for us. Boy. I'm sad. I would think I would have printed this bigger. This zigzag bigger. Yeah, I'm missing certain subtleties working at this size, I'm afraid. What work do I do? Are you asking what work I'm doing now, or what work do I do in general? At the moment, I'm inking some artwork, and have been for a couple weeks from Thief from the Cobbler. But I think I printed this page too small, and it's kind of freaking me out. I feel like I could. It's a missed opportunity, I'm afraid. Because it's when I'm working small, I'm definitely losing some of the subtleties of the original image. What work do I do in general? Well, I went to USC Film School in Los Angeles from 1999 to 2003 or 4. And I was originally a feature filmmaker. And I just couldn't break into Hollywood. I worked as a commission artist for a long time. I did like covers, painted covers for video games for a while. I was also a writer for a couple of magazines in the film industry. And a YouTuber to an extent. I was making some money off of YouTube in about 2016. Not so much these days. These days I'm a little bit lost career-wise, to be honest. So we'll see, because it's been a very weird time with the pandemic and everything else. My income at the moment is not spectacular. And neither is this drawing, I'm afraid. Because this is a good drawing. I think my version of it's going to fall a little short. But I have been inking. You see, I just screwed up this. Though I think that'll get cut off in the assembly anyway. But I've been inking about 100 pages of Thief and the Cobbler artwork over the past few weeks. I've been doing it live on stream like this, so it kind of forces me to work, keep working, and not get distracted. But I would say I'm a creator, a content creator, filmmaker, film editor, writer, artist. I was directing an animated feature in 2019 and the budget ran out. I was directing an animated video game in 2015, when the money ran out. The money's been a problem, but if money wasn't a problem, I'm a content creator. I do my best. I've been doing creative work since the 90s. But yeah, actual income these days is just not coming. And I'm surviving off of I'm surviving with help right now, of which I'm very grateful, but I'm hoping that, thank you, I'm hoping that I can get a little future work going. I'm just kind of burnt out at this point. I'm tired. I'm suffering from real exhaustion. So this past year and a half, thank you, this past year and a half has sort of been about my health and trying to rest a little. Though I'm not good at resting, really. I'm good at doing this sort of thing. I might get back to filmmaking at some point. I do have some plans along those lines. The logistics are just a little difficult. But I have had some plans along those lines. Thank you. Yeah, just inking. I think this is the last batch that I'm going to do. As I said, I really should have printed this bigger. This kind of feels pointless. Because it's not going to be as good as the real thing, is it? Maybe I can come close, but I've been trying to print these out at a size that's not too big that it becomes unwieldy, but you gotta print these out pretty big. So that you gotta print them out about as big as is practical, so that you can capture all the subtleties of the artwork. In this case, I think I just printed it too small. I'm just going to keep complaining about that because I don't know, I think I would want to reprint this. I think I would. When you're working big, there's less chance of putting the line in the wrong place and the line being wobbly and this and that. I'm trying to be careful, but there's only so much I can do. See, you're feeling a little salty, probably. Yeah. Don't know why I printed this as small as this. Don't know why. I do like this expression, so I might just write this off as, okay, it'll be a worse version of the picture, but I'll still do it. That's where I'm at right now mentally. I originally did a whole bunch of art, inked a whole bunch of art back in February 2006 for the original recobbled cut covers and everything. I released a Thief and the Cobbler video game, Super Mario Bros. 2 game, just for fun, and I was looking at the promotional artwork and saying, you know, this just isn't up to my current standards, and I am, in theory, going to be releasing like an update of the recobbled cut called the recobbled cut 4.2. It's not a Mark V, but it is going to be a bit of an update. And I was almost done with that at the end of March, and I just stopped because I had sinus surgery and I was recovering, and I wasn't in the mood for a while. But, okay. But I gotta get back to that, and I will need promotional art, methinks. I think I will need some promotional art, so I was redoing all the old art. And then I kept going, and I've been doing more artwork since. It's been, I think, over 100 pages at this point as of today, because I did a bunch more today. I was doing as many as 19 in a day. These things in the past few weeks. Itching my head. Absent-mindedly. But, just scratching my head. So I'm gonna have to assemble all those. I printed out a huge stack of material, which I could ink. I said to myself, okay, this is all the stuff that I could ink, and I don't know how much I will ink. This is all the stuff that I could ink. And I inked a lot. Didn't ink that entire stack of hundreds, but I inked a lot. That was tough to print out as well, because my printer is broken. It really needs to be forced to cooperate. But I prepared a lot of stuff. Some of it is direct from actual drawings like this. Some of it was from lower quality material that I had to work with and pencil a little bit, rework, and assemble. But all of it was Thief and the Cobbler stuff that I've been inking over the past ... and all of which I will have to do Photoshop work on pretty soon. Because it's all in a few pieces, so I can't really share much of it, apart from what people see me doing this. But the actual artwork needs to be assembled and retouched in Photoshop. And my chair is squeaky. And I shaved my sideburns, and I'm a little self-conscious about it. They'll grow back in. My chair is just going to keep making noise, I guess. Need a new chair, I guess. But I've said this, I bought a new chair. It just wasn't very good. It was an Amazon chair that shipped. I think I need to actually buy a chair in person to get something which isn't crap. Speaking of crap, yeah, I just did a bad job on this circle. Inking this circle. Now I can fix that in post, probably. But it just shows you that I'm inking too small. I needed to print this out bigger so that I wouldn't screw up so much and could get everything just right. Because there's always going to be a certain amount of difference between what I'm doing and the original. But when you're working big, it's not. You can stay within the lines easier. This is tougher. This is tougher. And it's weird that I didn't print it out bigger. So I'm going to keep complaining about that. I think if I wasn't streaming, I would actually print out a different version of this. I wonder to what extent I can fix this in post. I don't know. But I think what I'm just going to do is just accept that it's going to be a little worse. I did, there was a piece that I'd inked back in 2006, I believe, but later in 2006, which I found again recently, and I was sort of filtering it a little bit because I knew I'd inked it too small. I was filtering it and correcting it a little bit to have thinner lines and be a little cleaner. But I ended up just re-inking that whole image, which was of the courtiers at a larger size. So it's kind of pointless to do that in the end. But I was thinking that I could do that with this a little. Make the lines a little thinner, and then see if there's actually that much issue with what I'm doing. I don't know. I'm self-conscious about this. As I'm saying that, I just put a line in very much the wrong place. So I should be self-conscious. Because it's hard to work this small. and get these results. God damn it. Yeah, it's like it's a little off. That's enough because it's subtle. You really need to. There's a lot of subtleties here. This is a very nice drawing. But oh well. I think I'm doing this for a coloring book. And judged on those terms, this wouldn't be too bad. Like, it doesn't need to be perfect. But I think most of my work has been pretty good. It's been rare that I've felt that I was doing a lot worse than the drawing I'm working over. And it's just only when it's a really nice quality scan like this is, and I'm not working big enough, you know? Like, it would be tempting to redo this a little. But I think I'll just have to accept. For now, I think the context of this is, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I have been trying to get it as high quality as I can get it with these inks. I really am doing my best. And there's a lot of subtleties here. You don't want to screw up. It's just naturally going to be a little rough at this size. Okay. I'm yawning. Yawning like a dog. It's a strange kind of detached way that I'm speaking. I guess when you're sort of talking to yourself, you get into a different mode than if you're actually talking to somebody. You need somebody to bounce off of, I suppose. I probably should have eaten something. If it's not crazy late when I'm finished, I might eat something more. Yeah. Even if it is crazy late, because it is pretty late. Wow, I'm actually peaking, so this must be up pretty loud. Maybe I should take it down a notch. I'll have to listen to what the audio's like. I have not gotten around to that, because I've just been working on this. And I think I just sort of put the line there in the wrong place. It's not too bad. It'll just have to be good enough for whatever purposes this is observing. It'll just have to be good enough, but it's for sure not as good as what I'm inking. As the pencil drawing that I'm making is. Okay, it's better than this. So I'm trying. It's pretty close. You just have to be close enough. I said putting the line in very much the wrong place. But the difference is so minimal, so minuscule. Working too small. I'm just going to keep combining rather than change what I'm doing in any way. So I'd have to go into the other room, the other computer, to print something out. But that's not going to happen right now. But this is going to suck a little bit compared to what it should be. Okay. There. Okay. Hand exercises. Should I take the gain down a little bit? Should I? What if we do 12? But I'm going to get something to drink real quick. And I'll be back. Should I put the text up? I'll get something to drink. Stand up, walk around, and then I'll do some more. This might work. I also think okay. Yeah, I definitely should eat something. I'm very tempted. I do eat kind of a lot in the day, but sure bugs me when I don't. Okay. Okay. So this bit of, which I don't even need. I really could have faked that in Photoshop pretty easily. That's all we're inking on this second sheet of paper. But yeah, I could have, it's just one line, I could really fake that in Photoshop without much difficulty. Excuse me. That's all we're doing on this page. Instead of printing it larger, gonna do absolutely could have filtered the pencil drawing. I'm screwing up. Might still have to filter it. But I could have absolutely filtered this pencil drawing to be ink because it's just one line. It's a big curve. Didn't actually need to ink it. Would have preferred a larger print of the face. What did I do? I tell you. Okay, I need to find the reference for this too. Now this is printed large, like this was something that this image was drawn small originally. This wouldn't be under Calvert, would it? This is not a Calvert drawing. Oh no, here it is. Here it is. I found it. So this was drawn kind of small to begin with, and I printed it out pretty big, so I'm confident that I can ink this satisfactorily. The top of his head is cut off, but not on this side. That's interesting. So I guess I'll start here. This isn't cut off. And this is, God bless us, going to be the last drawing of all this session. But the print, I gotta, the way it's printed, there's some watermarking over stuff that I do need to ink, which is visible on the original reference, but not in the printout. The printout has it all screwed up. So let's see what I can't do about this. I can see on the reference what's going on, but on the actual printout, there's this watermark over everything, which makes it a little bit of guesswork. But this is something that's printed at a nice large size. I will say that the zigzag, I get why I printed it at that size, because he's got these big shoulders, and I was like printing the whole length of him. But the actual details, you know, I should have ignored the shoulders and just printed the details, or gone for more size, gone for more pages. But in this case, it's printed big. You can tell it was drawn small, and it's got all this scratchy pencil work over it. So, I know that the inking I'm doing is going to be up to snuff and capture these subtleties as long as I'm careful. This is nice and big. Nice and big. But this watermark situation is a situation. Fill in the blanks a little bit. And again, on the actual JPEG reference, I can the watermark is not covering this material, and I can see what it is. So it's just the printout got a little fluey. And kind of flatten things out a little bit. The original drawing is pretty colorful, which must be marking what color lines to use where. And that kind of marks it off as a Williams production because there's an attention to detail that's relatively lacking in the Calvert work. I try to have an attention to detail when doing this stuff. There's a lot of details to be attentive of. See me rubbing my eyes a lot. I think it's holding a pin. Something like that. This is interesting because it's the same thought process of printing this out on 2 sheets of paper, but this is nice and big compared to the original art, and zigzag was not. Same kind of thought process. So, okay, we'll print them out to be about 10 inches tall. And then print them out on 2 sheets of paper. And thusly, it's just that zigzag. It's a larger drawing with more detail and these big shoulders, and I just should have beefed that up a bit. Still could, I suppose. I'm sorry to keep going on about that. There's no one in the chat or watching, so I don't have a lot to talk about. There's not a lot on my mind because I'm focused. I'm running my mouth. I'm very focused on the work. Just like Tech the Cobbler is in this drawing. He's very focused on the work. Running down that road, you know. Make a deal with God. Swap our places. Yeah. consistently I have to think my way around this watermark without freaking out and screwing up the drawing. When it is covering up some stuff. That is visible in the original source JPEG, but not in this printout, which has flattened things out a bit. You know what it is, actually? I think I photoshopped this to be darker. I think that's what I did. I wasn't taking the watermark into account. I think I had ditched the original reference by this point, and I was using a photoshopped version of it. I do have a means of working around the watermark a little bit, but I didn't use that on like any of these. Could have. I should admit that. Becomes a little legally questionable, I suppose. But I'm pretty sure I'm also the reason, I've said this, I'm pretty sure I'm also the reason that the Academy even has this artwork, a lot of it, in the first place, so yeah. For several reasons, but yeah, I feel a certain sense of ownership at this point, even though legally that has never been the case. I've earned it. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad I did this one. I think this is a nice one. There's probably more I could have done. Gotta stop somewhere. Gotta eat something. Am I gonna have one last look through the stack? When I'm done, whether I've accomplished all this? Or am I gonna feel very done at like 3 a.m.? What time? Okay, so I've got another hour and a half, I would say. We'll see. To be awake, I mean. That might be enough to slip in one more drawing after these. Or it might be enough to slip in something to eat, because I think I should. You know? Oh, I totally put that line in the wrong place. I'm not going to fix it, but I put it in the wrong place because it's not visible in the printout. Why is it not visible in the printout? His eye does have a highlight, which again you can't see in the printout for some reason. I sort of just put that line in the wrong place, but I'll work around it. A thought just popped into my head of what another thing I could ink would be. Another key nod, but I don't know. I've inked a lot. I've kind of fulfilled my plans and then some. I do need to get to the other side of all this. It's hard enough doing these inks when I can see the lines. When I'm working through blotches, it's harder. Oh, we've been off for a while. How long have we been off for? Sorry about that. Yeah, we've been off for a while. How long have we been off? I'll turn us back on. Sorry about that. Maybe I'll grab a soda. Yeah, I'm gonna swap out the camera battery. Sorry about that. I do think I should need something also. Let's turn the camera back on so we can do. We are over the 100-page mark. Is it getting a little dark? Maybe a little dark. Sorry about that. Excusez-moi. I was still doing his eye. Something like that. That is peeking the mic. So it must be pretty loud. drinking a straw. Okay. Oh, I was doing his hair. That's right. So let's finish that for reals. I think I'm involuntarily making hungry noises. I've had a fair amount to eat today, but I think I'd be in better shape if, well, if I exercised, but also if I only had to eat 2 meals a day. So when you're preparing your own meals, it's more convenient. They end up a little big. Your meals end up a little big. And I'm old, I don't have the metabolism that I used to. I feel like I eat a little too much. But, you know, when you're preparing your own food, you get used to, like, it's like you're supposed to be cooking for a whole family, right? Yeah. And I need to exercise more, I know that. I have this exercise machine near me blocking the way through this room, which I never use. I was gonna get on that and just go. I'm very much like, I get single-minded about things. Like, I would want to exercise like a lot on one day and then not do it for the rest of the month. Basically, I think that's the way I'm wired. But I had this thing where I would get on that exerciser and watch the Clone Wars. So I should do a little more of that. To be honest, I should. Not Kenobi. These fancy shows, not so much, because I'm exercising and I need to feel like I'm focusing on them, but not that much. All these fancy, expensive shows, I don't know. See, I'm making hungry noises. Involuntarily. I don't know, might be hungry. Looking at the reference again, just to have a better idea of what's going on with this shoe, because it's got a lot of little Yeah, there's some weird lines there that I'm not 100% about. Excuse me. Well, there's one weird line at the very least I'm not 100% about. And the reference JPEG is clearer than the printout. If you want to be happy for the rest of your life, never make a prairie falcon your wife. They need a moderate altitude to catch burrowing owls for food. That is not my joke. That's a Twitter joke. I forget whose joke that is. Just popped into my head that I should tweet that at somebody. I should find whoever's tweet that was. Send it to somebody. I spend too much time on Twitter. Twitter is mostly a negative place. Like you're exposed to a lot of bad news, but the jokes make it almost worth it. Twitter used to be much more of a space for jokes. I used to use Twitter much more for jokes than I do now. What you gonna do, huh? What you gonna do? Excuse me. Will we do one more after this? Well, we will do one more page after this, but will there be time and energy to do another drawing? I don't know. I will say I've accomplished most of my goals here. I've accomplished quite a bit. Feeling pretty satisfied with the state of things here. I need to check if... Okay, so I'm not going to do that line, actually. I'm going to avoid doing this line because it goes off the page. We'll do the rest of these lines on the other page because they're going off the page right now. But the lines that aren't going off the page I will do. Just figure out the rest later. Well, yeah, I can do these fingers, I guess. You know what? No, I'll stop myself and do it on the next page. I wouldn't normally be like talking to myself like this, but it is a stream, So I'm just kind of running my mouth through my thought process, whether it's interesting or not. And being streaming does help force me to work and focus and just work and do it without getting caught up in social media, taking breaks and stuff. And probably helps with my productivity, because I do want to just barrel through this. That was my goal with this string of inks, was that I was just going to barrel through them and have this huge batch of like inks that I still need to Photoshop. Whereas if I only inked a few, I probably would only ever ink a few. But if I ink like way too many, like a ridiculous amount, then that's inked, and then I just have to deal with the Photoshoppery. But it forces me to actually do it and lock into it. Whether this is a worthwhile project, I don't know, but just various methods here to sort of force me to concentrate and get this done. Whether it's that great an idea for a project, I don't know, but I'm doing it, and it's done. This portion of it, the inking portion of this is basically done now. I've got one more page after this, and then maybe do one more before, in like the last hour, but I don't know. Maybe not. Should eat something. Because it's been a while since I ate something proper. I had these smoothies that I blended yesterday, which have kind of lost their flavor overnight a little. That does have fruit in it and oats and stuff, but I don't know, it didn't really feel like a meal. I had two of the things. I was just kind of finishing it. And I used to be unclear about his socks, because he's got one striped sock and one white sock. And I was unaware of that when doing some of my art. So I'd give him two striped socks. I'd be confused about why his sock is white. Where are the stripes? When? This being this movie, he's not symmetrical. There's a lot you actually have to deal with. There's bits of him that are symmetrical, but not. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of detail in these characters and a lot of asymmetricality. So, you know, whoops. I think there was a commission of mine a while back where I gave him an extra striped sock, as I recall. I don't feel bad about it. How could I? The betrayal. The betrayal. Okay. So, let us remove some of this stuff. There's a lot of junk on the desk right now. The Thanos copter. want to be able to see what I need to ink here that I didn't get to on the other page. Right. After this, I'm going to put something in the microwave to eat. I did eat a lot today because I had a pizza. I had half a pizza, then another half of a pizza. And I had some smoothie, but that's still only like 2 meals and a snack. So I don't know. I think my body is complaining. And I want to sleep well. Eat something, and I might still ink one more thing. I don't know what that would be. There is one thing I cannot that comes to mind. But if I don't, I've already inked a lot today. Already inked a lot today. And inked over 100 pages these last few days. So, yeah, I've accomplished a big chunk of art as intended. No regrets, no regrets. No tears, no anxieties. Just go forward. And all your beliefs and prove to me that I'm not mistaken in mine. I don't know. These streams are so off the cuff. I hope it's not just like a gross, embarrassing situation. But I think the results speak for themselves because I have gotten a lot done during these streams. Kind of forcing myself to work to theoretically be observed by the internet. I was really screwing up that line. I'll fix it in post, but that's screwed up. That's me. You know what I'll do? Since I just screwed all that up, let me do it again on the other sheet of paper. Can I get it right this time? Can I? See? There you go. That was good. This was not. Okay. like a prairie falcon at work. They need a moderate altitude to catch burrowing owls for food. Okay. There's a line there, but I don't know if that's accurate. There is a little extra line though, so maybe I'll draw that in. I don't know if that needs to be drawn in, but I do see it. Here we go. This little extra line. It looks erased on the actual reference, but I can't be sure. Because there's a lot of colored pencil happening, so it'd be a little vague anyway. I guess nobody's going to tell the difference anyway. I don't know if that line is supposed to be there or not. And in cases like that, sometimes I just draw the line and I say, well, I can delete it later if I feel bad about it. Speaking of which, I think I put this in the wrong place. Fix that in post, fix some subtle things in post. It's gonna be a lot of work in post for all of these. It's gonna be a lot of work in post for all of these. What have I done? What have I done? What have I gotten myself into? Completely unprompted, and nobody asked me to do this. I just wound up doing this. And I took it really far. Farther than maybe I should have. But I did want some promotional artwork. I think it's good to have this sort of thing. I guess also remind people who only follow me for the Thief and the Cobbler stuff, remind them that I'm an artist. I don't know if this reminds them that I'm an artist, but okay, there's a line right here, which I don't actually think is a line. I think it's just pointing to something. I think it's just pointing to the gap. So, and I did ink it on the other page, but I'm not going to ink it on this page. I don't know what that line would be. So I don't think it's legit. I think it's just pointing to the gap. And there's a little purple. So I think it's darker than the other purples, but I think it's just the same as this little purple text that says gap and has little X's. So I don't think that's actually anything. No. I don't think that line's anything, so I don't think I'm going to draw this. Okay. Maybe I can have a fundraiser saying, you know, if my stream was more popular, it could be like, get Garrett a new chair to replace the squeaky chair. At the moment, I'm getting help with rent because I'm not making a lot of money. So, I don't want to be wasting money. Period. did already buy a chair, but I'm not using it because I don't like it. It's not comfortable. And I'm in this chair all fucking day, so it does have to be comfortable. So this old chair, it remains. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just checking the stream, just to make sure I was still broadcasting. I actually took down today's main stream, which is like a 5-hour stream, but I think I'll put it back up later if anyone wants to watch that. I just get a little concerned sometimes. Okay, I kind of screwed that up, didn't I? We'll have to fix it in post. But for now, I'll just draw a thicker line, which is sort of my symbol, my sign to myself that I need to fix something. Because I'm not using line width variation for the most part in these. Oops. Wow, I think I'm almost done. And what I'm gonna do, I'll put something in the microwave, hopefully something not too big. Either that or something in the oven. I think I would have a couple of bagels, but I'm out of cream cheese. But, yeah, okay. I'll be back in a second. We'll leave this here now. I'll be back in a moment. Ooh, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I'm gonna do the healthy choice because I don't need big man. It's been a while since my Christ. I've got a microwave which misbehaves. The door misbehaves, but it hasn't done that in a while. But it was just doing that now. I don't know why. It normally hasn't been doing that, but just when I've been streaming, it's embarrassing me. Okay. I guess I'll keep Wolby back up for now, just for a moment. So I'm gonna put things in her. So, I am gonna eat something. Oh, I should have put the battery into something. Never forget. Always forget. Okay. Let's take the toys off this. Okay, I'm gonna go through and see if there's anything else I don't ink in the last hour. Here's a lot of Chief Ruthless. I'm definitely not doing that stuff. I think I've done enough of those characters, TBH. Chief Ruthless. Yeah, there's them looking scared. That's a zigzag that I didn't bother with. That's another angle of the wedding. This is all stuff that I basically did. That's interesting because this is that's a one-eye, that's just one page. It's a Calvert Witch. I'm going to say no to that. It's kind of neat, but it's a Calvert Witch. It's Nanny fighting the Brigands. That's kind of interesting. But I don't think so. I will add it to the pile. But here's a Sleeping King Nod that I think I could do quickly. And the Screaming King Nod is tempting also. This whole tableau of, yeah, so I think it's going to be that King Nod. That's what I was thinking of that I might do. This tableau, which I printed out nice and big, is interesting. It's zigzag and tack. Here's a pretty decent thief, actually, which I haven't done a ton of him. That's pretty rough yum yum, so I don't think I'll bother. But you do see her legs. Yeah, it would just need to be, it's a little too rough, I think, but it is interesting. Speaking of rough, there's some rough courtiers. Here's another King Nod that I sort of like, but I've already done something similar. I'll put that at the bottom of this. This rough I like, but I don't think I could figure it out. the ruff of the thief attack. And here's a zigzag and then some ruffs of the courtiers. Okay, so yeah, I think these first couple are interesting, at least. Is this 2 pages? This should be 2 pages. Yeah, it's 2 pages. Yeah. Relatively quick. I think I could do a few more of these. Let's say maybe 5 or 7 more. Maybe. 7 is pushing it. 7 is definitely pushing it. TBH. I think I just got those out of order a little bit, which is not good. I am gonna eat something. Yeah, I'm gonna eat something. And because I'm eating something, I'm gonna close all my Photoshop files. I do have something that I would normally do during this time. Stop me if you've heard this before. So we're going to do this for a bit. How's that? Jeopardy. I was supposed to type Clyde and I typed Comide. So that's not my best work. But looks and all things. Alright. So I'm gonna get that food that I was talking about. So for those who don't know, during meal times, we will play Jeopardy. How's that? So books and authors are country music. Let's do country music because I don't want to answer. That'll get us started. This temperature. And it's springtime in Alaska. Want to get us started. This is wet. I need to be able to throw this away. Am I going to get the box? I'm going to get the box. I want to be able to throw this away. Okay. He took a peep at Polynesian life. Herman Melville. Herman Melville. I didn't know that, but I do know who wrote Moby Dick. What is this sauce? I don't know what this sauce is. Does not look spectacular, but doesn't look like a nice sauce or anything. But I'm gonna throw away this hat also. So I might be able to ink a few more pages. Blue Bayou. I love Linda Ronstadt, singing Blue Bayou. It's a classic. She did it on The Muppet Show. It was delightful. Anyway, this is the Healthy Choice corn burrito or whatever. Joe's Boys. Jobu Pataki or whatever her name was. Wow. This is still a little hot. Little Women. Name for the great pimp. Is there an Ionic? Or Ionian? Or Ionic? Is Ionic a thing? Ionian? North America, I think. Unless, well, Lake Victoria. Africa. Okay, fine. Colonialism. I get it. Colonialism. Those are very British names. But colonialism, I get you. I get you. Jello, molded salads. Jello or like a mayonnaise and aspic, gross. Whatever. I don't know what that is. But maybe you're talking about Jello. This is too hot, but I'm just kind of barreling my way through it. I'm not really burning my mouth, at least. But I want to rush through this meal. See if I can't ink a couple more things before I go to sleep. Born Randall Williams. He now carries on his father's family tradition. Who is Hank Williams? Okay. Fine. Oh, country music. I didn't even check the category. Bartlett. Mr. Bartlett. Alex Haley. Kunta Kinte. What's it?
unless it was Muhammad Ali or Malcolm X. But I know Alex Haley wrote Roots, right? So that was, wait, autobiography. So it wouldn't be Kunta Kinte because that was like an old slave story, right? So Malcolm X. I'll go with Malcolm X. Because it's an autobiography in 1965. But he also wrote Roots, right? Alex Haley. Let me see. Weather. High or low pressure system? We'll go with low. Right? Is it low? Look, just take a guess, computer. Oh, I was wrong. Hurricanes? Who is Charles Manson? Jerry Lee Lewis, right? He's got a lot of issues. Never heard him called the killer though. It's icy high-speed winds. Okay, that meal was not terrific, but it was acceptable, and I don't think it was very high calorie. So I think we're done. I had my tacos, and I'm gonna do a little more dry. I'm also gonna drink that seltzer. Wash my hands. It wasn't very spicy, but just spicy enough that it makes me want to do breathing exercises obnoxiously. A uniformly gray line now. What is a nimbus? A nimbus. You're a nimbus. This German version contains bacon and vinegar and is often served hot. What is Kat Dennings? Okay. What is potato salad? I have no idea. I wipe seltzer on my khaki shorts. Is that something? A still life. A still life. That is a still life. Thank you. Mind if I cough? Sorry. That's got to be peaking the mic if I cough. Sorry about that. Just clearing my throat. Thank you, Alex Trebek. Thank you. She was country when country wasn't cool. I don't know, Dolly Parton? Emmylou Harris? Barbara Mandrell. Okay. That does sound uncool. And a little older school than I was thinking. The Silver Fox. Is country music still? Silver Fox. Nick Wilde. Nick Wilde. Jason Bateman. I'm just going to say John Singer Sargent, and I don't think that's right, but this is just like the name that always comes to mind for when I need a random painter. Winslow Homer. You totally know they're right when they actually have an answer like that. I'm the Crapon, and I live in a zoo. Is a dry crust of bread rubbed with this. What is these nuts, Alex? What is these nuts? Chapon. Dry crust of bread rubbed with butter, garlic. Garlic sounds right. Is that Anna Gunn? The salad dressing was named for a region shared by New York State, Ontario. What is really? I didn't know there were 1,000 islands up there. Or maybe it's just one. It was based on Seurat, right? Well, no. It's the Le Grand Jatte, whoever painted that, the Pointillist, which I don't think was Seurat. Maybe it was. George Seurat does sound, I don't know. But it's a Sunday afternoon on the island of Le Grand Jatte, right? And that the title is The Pointillist. Seurat is all I've got as a guess. I should get back to work, shouldn't I? See, it was Seurat. There you go. Baroque. Baroque, surely. Dwayne Baroque Johnson. Dwayne. Belgian surrealist with a penchant for painting bowler hats. I can picture it. I can picture the paintings. But boy, who was that? I should get back to work, sorry. If anyone's watching, you can skip ahead, I guess. Who was? I should know this. I really should know this, shouldn't I? Tell me, Alex Trebek. Magritte, that's right. I totally should have had that information in my head. It's been a while since I had to know anything like that. Anyway, we are not playing Double Jeopardy. We didn't either. We didn't play it last time either. So I'm gonna keep on squeaking. And I'll shut off the Jeopardy. Bye-bye, Jeopardy. But let's see. Excuse me. So I'm going to do a few inks before I go to sleep. I've still got a couple that I can do, I guess. And we'll just do them. It's getting a little hot, even though it's very cool outside. It's like 64 out. But I think I just ate, so I'm a little bit elevated in temperature all of a sudden. But anyway, let's just ink a Sleeping King nod and see how far we can get before I have to sleep. If I don't finish this, it'll be a quickie that I do tomorrow, not on stream. But I think this will be my last stream of this sort of artwork. I did just go through everything, and I think of the stuff I printed out, I think I have gotten to the good stuff. I was actually impressed by the degree to which I did get to the good stuff. There wasn't that much in the print pile. Though I think maybe I could have printed out more of like the Thief in the Water and stuff like that, because we do have a model sheet of that. Tank Running or whatever, but you know, I did a lot of stuff. I'm hoping I don't sweat over this page very much. I am feeling that even though this is fairly large, it's also drawn large and it's detailed. So I am feeling that, oops, this didn't print out big enough thing again. But I'll just roll with it. Again, I didn't feel that with the tank I just did, because he was drawn so small to begin with that I was sort of capturing everything about him pretty easily. And I'm not going to sweat too much about this. This is a bonus. But I will say that I think my line is a little thicker than intended. And I just hope I can capture the subtleties of the face. So we'll just try to get to that. I did rest enough in the meantime that my hand's not hurting. We've been going for 2 extra hours. I think I streamed for 5 hours earlier. So this has been about a 7-hour session. I think if you do 5 hours of work in a day, that's pretty good. Most people do that. And there were food breaks in there. But I definitely think I've done my day's work. I've done it already. Just keep pushing a bit. I do push myself pretty hard on a day-to-day basis. I don't really acknowledge that to myself. I get tired and I don't know why. It's like, well, I'm pushing myself pretty hard. But I always feel like I'm not getting anything done. It is good to know that I'm getting a big stack of inks done. I mean, I don't know how important this stuff will actually turn out to be to anybody. But it is something where I can say, yeah, no, I did that. I did a nice big stack of 100+ pages of Thief and the Cobbler art. I inked. And making a book out of it or something. Like a coloring book. Could also be merchandise art or whatever, depending on how far people are willing to go with this shit. Copyright wise, because God knows I don't have the copyright, but you know, put this stuff out there. I am sweating and I don't want to be sweating. I don't know why it's warm. Because it's cool outside. It might just be because I ate just then. And that's bringing up my temperature a little bit. But it might also be that we're genuinely getting to the end of the night, getting a little tired, and my body wants to be cooled down at night. So it might just be forcing the meme a little bit. And saying you need to cool down. As Taylor Swift did not say. So all this is bonus material and kind of has been all day. Just pushing to do a little extra before I stop entirely. And get into the Photoshop portion of this probably. Or do something else entirely for a while. I did have some prints made for my Nintendo hacks and Thief and the Cobbler stuff also. So I gotta assemble those as well. There's a lot of unfinished shit I've gotta do. But yeah, we'll be photoshopping all this stuff, I assume. Gradually, probably. Because it's going to be a bit of work to do all the assembly and correct any places where my inking might fall short, or where maybe it was printed too dark, so it's affecting the lines, stuff like that. But the Photoshop process can be very involved on some of these. sometimes it's sort of a salvage operation to correct a lot of stuff. Certainly, at the very least, it's a bit of work to assemble and get it cleaned up, ready. And it's more work than that to color it properly. The bucket filling is kind of easy, but it's not nothing. But doing like the colored lines it can be tough. It's something that I'm probably not going to do with most of this. You could do it. It would look very good if you did. But I don't think I will be. I wonder if I'm giving him angrier eyebrows than he's supposed to have here. That might be a bit of an angrier eyebrow than he's supposed to have. But I couldn't quite see. It was a little ambiguous. Even though this is a very high quality scan direct from the finished clean-up drawing. I'll just screw that line up a little bit, made it too thick. But I'm not looking at the reference. Which, by the way, also has Yum Yum in it, but I'm not bothering. Sort of like a distant full body Yum Yum running in. But I'm not going to bother with that. I didn't print that out. But yeah, she is in the scene technically. In the actual drawing, she is running up that hill. Yeah, I'm feeling a little sweaty. I think I would turn on the AC under other circumstances, perhaps. I think I would, it's weird, it feels like the AC just turned on and maybe in the upstairs apartment. But I would crack a window also because I like to air this place out. It's just been cooler today than it's been, at least according to the temperature on this computer. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe the computer is confused. Temps to drop on Friday. Really? They got like this bullshit news feed. They want me to read Blondie, Dear Abby. They're talking about the Olsen twins and Let's Go Brandon. It's like, who reads this shit? Like, I don't want my Windows computer to be a social media machine. If I want social media, and I do, I'll go on social media, but I don't want your bullshit social media feed on the computer that I'm trying to use. Otherwise, you know, when I boot it up, I hate that shit. But, you know, they're probably serving ads or partnering with news providers to making money off of that placement or something. Or maybe they just like propagandizing, you know, or controlling the narrative of something or other. I did notice like discussions of Elon Musk and Joe Biden and Let's Go Brandon. That bullshit. It's possible that this should have been inked at a larger size, but it's not really bothering me this time. It's not as complex an image. It is drawn large, so it does show a little, but there's some thick lines here also, even though it was drawn large. There's a mix of very slightly rough pencils in some areas, even though it is very clean. But yeah, it's printed pretty big, at least for what it is. Whereas that zigzag, his head, I think, takes up more of the space than zigzags did also. That zigzag was bugging me because it's so intricate. And I knew I wasn't doing it justice at that size. With this, it's a fairly simple pose. It's fairly large on the page. I'm doing it a fair amount of justice, I'm sure. What does concern me a little is these beard lines. I don't even know which direction that beard line goes into, so I just made a mess of it. But these beard lines are going to cross to the next page. And so the Photoshop construction might be a little bit tricky to bridge that gap. Maybe not. Maybe it'll sync up perfectly at some point. But usually there's like a very slight, or not so slight, difference when you're drawing a line across a page and then drawing a bunch of lines at once across a page. It's a little tricky. But, I'll deal with it. I think I'm inking pretty accurately right now. So I got that going for me. I think I am supposed to crash like after another 20 minutes or something. So we are nearing the end. I'm not super tired. I think just because I napped and I psyched myself up to do this. But having napped partway through my workday has given me a little more strength to keep going. I'm also the kind of person who gets my energy like late at night. Anyway, when there aren't the same kind of things in the air that bother me, partly. When it's cooler, when there's less distractions, when it's this, when it's that, when it's a lot of things. But I always just get more clarity before I'm supposed to be going to bed. But that can also turn into being tired pretty quick, so. At the moment, I feel like I can do more. Take on the world for a bit. Tempted to draw those little stars, but I'm not going to. For one thing, none of them are complete here. But I bet you I could pull them from the pencil drawing, because they look pretty cleanly drawn. I don't know, it's tempting. Just none of them are complete in this print, so I guess I won't bother. little stars. I'm just going to extend these lines down to the bottom of the page, past the original point of drawing. And it's probably going to be a little bit wrong, but we're not going to worry about that too much. Stretch a little. Feeling a little sweaty. I'll just wipe my hand. Wipe a hair off of this drawing. Oh, see, I'm inking King Nod sleeping when I should be sleeping. That has only just occurred to me. Also, I'm inking with a pretty thin line on a piece of paper that's printed pretty dark, so maybe I should switch to a thicker line all of a sudden. That thought actually does occur to me, but I do like the precision that it gives me. But I think I don't need precision at the moment. I think I need smoothness. So yeah, let's switch. Hopefully it won't be too much thicker. Yeah, it's about the same thickness in practice, even though this is a thicker line in theory. Yeah, they're pretty much indistinguishable in practice. Because I've been using this one for a while. But I do think I get some precision out of it that I don't get with the 3. I also have to be precise with the 1 though, and I don't want to be precise right now. In the same way, I want to be a little smooth. I feel like the pen is a little more durable. But yeah, that 1 does feel good. I think you get a little more precision. The results are pretty similar on the page, TBH. I think that's like the same width of a line, but they've got a different feel. You have to be more careful with the 1, and the 3 is a little tougher. You can press down harder, and it just has a clunkier feel to it. It's less fragile feeling. It's just a different feel when you're drawing, and I think that's all right for these beard lines. Let's see about yeah, okay. Yeah, this is another case where the other the other printout is mostly shoulder, like a part of the shoulder, which I don't actually need to have inked. I could have probably photoshopped that one line, but because of that, there's not much overlap between what appears on both sheets. So I am going to have to be careful stapling the beard together. At least, like, at this point, actually, it's not a problem, but like these lines are going to be a problem. But I'll figure it out. I'll deal with it. I'm also concerned about how dark some of these are printed with the blue, because that's a pretty dark blue, but at least this like watermark here. But it should still filter out pretty well. We'll see. Don't want to feel like filtering it out screws up the line art that much. But yeah, we'll see. It'll probably be fine. Probably something I can work around if it starts to be a mild problem. Probably work around it during cleanup. Yeah, my hand is hurting a little again. Still salivating even though I just ate, maybe because I just ate. That's okay. So I ate and I know I ate. Yeah, but we're getting to the end of it. I don't know if I'll do more tonight after this or tomorrow. But I won't be streaming, I think, again, this sort of thing anytime soon. I think I'm pretty much done with Photoshop. I don't usually stream Photoshop because it screws up the performance. It would probably motivate me to work. I've done it before, but it definitely screws up the performance of the computer enough that I kinda can't. Two, three, and then 4. Okay. So we're gonna do it from this point on. The first 3 here. I record. I'll just do all of that. I'm gonna start here. I won't do anything to the right there because I've already done it. But we'll do this. Can I scratch my shoulder? It's been a long couple of streams. That's so weird. It sounds like the AC is on, but not in mine. It must be upstairs. I wish it was. I could use the cool down. Even though it's very cool inside, apparently. 63. It didn't get below like 80 at night, even. The last few days, I think. At least for most of the night. It was still pretty hot. It was hovering around pretty hot. Temperatures. You see this shoulder. This is why I'm printing it this way. It's this shoulder, which I'm sure I'm going to be reconstructing some shoulders like this in Photoshop in some cases. It's definitely something that I wouldn't have had to ink by hand. Because this big, kind of big shape, that's just one line, is something you can always sort of clean up in Photoshop based on very little. But that's fine. I'll do it. I'm sure it's better to ink it. But I'm also sure that, I think that, well, I'm not sure, but I think that shoulder extends farther than I've printed here also. Maybe not. There's like a cutoff point there. But if it does, I could extend it further based on what's in the reference. Like I might be inking these in the wrong direction a little bit. Can't quite figure it out. Hands could use the rest, though, I tell you. I tell you, my hands could use the rest. I tell you. I wonder if they can hear me talking upstairs. They probably can. I've been able to hear them if they're like watching TV or something, which I think, but it's very rare actually. Walking around is a real problem. When they're walking around upstairs, it's very loud. But other kinds of noises is very rare. They were gone for a while. It was really nice. I think I was still recovering from surgery at that point, so it wasn't nice in that way. But itching a little on my side. But yeah, I could sleep without worrying about that them walking upstairs at all hours. They do walk around at weird hours. I'm also up at weird hours, so I can't really complain. But it always feels like when I'm trying to sleep, they're going to be walking around. So I wear earplugs, and I worry about the effect that has on my ears. It was just nice to not have to worry about that for a little while, because they weren't around. There was nobody upstairs for a while. I don't know if they moved out and then someone else moved in. That's possible. But it was blessed. Now it's business as usual. Am I gonna do this picture of one eye? I guess I am. Let's actually draw in the rest of him real quick. Yeah, let's draw. Like that. That'll give us a little bit more of one eye. Roam if you want to. This is from like a low quality screen grab, so it's going to be a little blurry, actually, a little blurrier, but it's pretty clear as these things go. It is just one page all told, so it's one of those that I just dumped in there saying this will be relatively easy. It's not nothing in terms of challenge, and I'll have to be careful to not lose the plot with how blurry this reproduction is. But it's straightforward enough. I'm actually going to do this. Kind of screwing this up. Anytime there's like pencil work involved and it's a little vague, you do lose track of things a little bit. It might just be that my hand hurts also. By this time, I'm kind of catching on, kind of getting stuck to my drawing surface here. Yeah, this is just kind of blurry. I mean, you can see what you need to see, but you can tell it's just blurry enough to give you a little bit of confusion as you're drawing, which you don't want to show. You know? You don't want it to be like, wait, what am I looking at? I can basically tell where the lines are supposed to go, but any mild variation just there I put something in very slightly the wrong place, is going to show. It's going to show. Any place where you're kind of hesitant about what you're doing or you're putting in the wrong place is going to show more than you want it to. Even though this is pretty clear, considering the source, which is like a dub of a U-matic, you know, like a standard def video. It's pretty clear under those circumstances, considering what it is, but it's still just enough to give you just a mild confusion when you're right in the middle of inking something and then you're like, wait, what? You can't be that way. You have to you know, when they're drawing it, they can do these kind of confident sweeping lines, which are then cleaned up, but you can still see elements of like an earlier take on it that is big sweeping lines, and you're imitating big sweeping lines. So you don't want it to be like going all over the place. You do want there to be nice curves. And you're taking it very slowly and carefully, but you're imitating these big sweeping moves. And so there needs to be total confidence in what you're doing. And then suddenly you'll get to a line where you can't fully see where that line is, and maybe you've just, I think maybe just now I put the line in slightly the wrong place. And it probably shows, you know. So even though this is pretty clear, any ambiguity can creep up on you. I said this, but my kind of working way of thinking about this was that it just adds up, that there's a certain amount of inaccuracy that you can get away with and it'll be fine. But it starts to add up over time, and then it just looks strange. Because it's not like people are experts on exactly what these character models are, but they can sense a certain roughness or confusion in what you're doing. It'll just look wrong if you're not careful, or confident, or know what you're doing enough. Under the circumstances, one does one's best. But you're imitating these, you know, big confident sweeping lines, and you want to project some of that confidence in what you're doing, even though you can't work quickly. You are being careful. You're trying to be accurate, but you're also trying to project some of that confidence rather than dithering about it. Now, since the lines are a little blurry, you don't know exactly where to put the line, but you kind of put it in the middle. There's maybe some subtlety that's getting lost. And places where it's harder to see the lines, you're maybe putting it in the wrong place more than you would, but we're pretty close. We're about as close as we can be from these materials. I think this line that I'm doing is slightly off, to be honest. But it's pretty close. It'll probably look fine. Can fix minor things in post, but one you do want to basically get it right. Because it's not like you can fix the whole damn thing digitally. If you could, I wouldn't need to do these by hand inks, I guess. It would certainly be very hard to fix everything digitally. I'm definitely not as good at drawing digitally as I am on paper. I can draw digitally, it's just always going to be a rough, you know. There's some subtlety here with, like, is there an extra row of teeth there? Is there just something in there? What's in front of what? You can barely see this line, but I'm drawing it because you can see it. I haven't pulled the reference, and I probably should have. Because I'll bet you the reference is clearer than this printout, because it tends to be. I think the reference is basically clear enough to work with. But it is blurry, so usually what I'm doing is just positioning my line in the middle of the blurry line, which is sort of an animation thing of splitting the difference. For what it is, considering the source, this is about as clear as you're going to get. Most of our pencil appearances in the work print are not this clear. For sure, like you can barely see what's going on normally. And this is pretty clear. But it's not so clear that I know exactly where every line is properly supposed to be. I'm just kind of guessing that there's even lines there. I think that's fine. I think it's something, it's alright. I did print this out because it was one sheet of paper, and I was thinking this will be like relatively easy, and you can just kind of slap it onto to what you're doing, maybe as a last minute relatively easy thing. Oh, it is well past the time where I was going to turn in TBH. We're almost at 3 hours. I'm not tired. I am feeling it a little, but I wouldn't say like I'm passing out tired. I should be. This is about the time I should be getting to bed. I don't know that I can or should do anymore. After this, there was that one of the thief. You know, I've done similar stuff of the thief from like that same scene. Not a close-up, but I've done similar stuff of the thief from that same scene. So it's not like, story-wise, it's not a big deal. And it's not like different from other thief stuff that I've drawn significantly. There's an amusing King Nod, but like, who cares? I probably didn't do enough of Fido. I just kind of didn't bother. We have a fair amount of reference of Fido, and I just didn't bother. But I don't think anyone will call me out on that. I did a 1 page of Fido, which is not even a finished whole thing. I was saying, well, maybe I can pull the rest from the actual pencil drawing. I don't know about that. I don't know about that, son. I'm gonna get riggedy wrecked, son. My hair's kind of sticking. Now I'm kind of spiraling out, thinking about stuff I shouldn't be thinking about. I got quiet there for a second, and I was thinking about like depressing shit. So maybe that is bedtime catching up with me. Do like to push myself a little farther. Push myself to exhaustion, kind of. And then I wonder why I'm exhausted the next day. I don't know. Exhaustion is something I really struggle with. Burnout and exhaustion. But I do work pretty hard. I will admit that occasionally. I work pretty hard. And my hand does hurt. Am I really starting one more? Am I really starting one more? It's late. I'm definitely getting down to the wire though. Even pushing my luck like this, there's not that much else that I want to do that I printed out. But I can for sure finish this tomorrow while scanning all this other shit. so you know, whatever, but I have started it. And I guess I am inking this scene. And I'm just calling it like that. I've done so much, and it's like, am I gonna stop? When am I gonna stop? Let's see. This was drawn large. He's not the most detailed character, so I think I'll get away with it, but in theory you probably want to print this larger to actually get it. It doesn't bug me as much as with Zigzag, as I said with King Nod also, because he's just not as detailed. But yeah, looking at it like this and knowing that I'm tired and this and that, I can see it's falling a little short of what it actually should be. At this size. My line is thicker than the pencil line for sure, and is missing some of the subtleties of the pencil line in this very cleaned up drawing, but he's a pretty simplistic character, so I don't think it's too big a deal. But yeah, this is like kind of a close-up that was printed smaller than it really would have been, because it would have been drawn pretty big. TBH. And yeah, could have printed it bigger. But then I think I would have refused to do it just now, so yeah, I just put a line in the wrong place. Just there. But he has a simpler design. I don't think I'm missing out too much on these subtleties, whereas with Zigzag there's so much going on in that design, that when you miss the subtleties of it, you're missing a lot. In this case, it's just kind of do my best with it. And because he's a simpler character, I feel like this shouldn't take me too much longer. But let's have this be the last, if I even finish this tonight, let's have this be the last. Yeah, see, I did just screw up a little bit. And again, getting it just a little bit wrong. This would have been a nice big drawing originally, but whatever. I just have to be good enough for my purposes, even if it's a little bit downgraded from the actual film. But I don't want to downgrade from the actual film. I do want to capture all of that. Quality. I don't know what's happening here with these lines, to be honest. I'll have to check the reference to find out what this line. Oh, it's his sleeve. It's his sleeve. It's just drawn in an unexpected way. Looks like his sleeve, right? Don't even know what I'm making. you lose track of what you're inking. Might not look right. Oh, my vision is getting... No, I just had like... the thing you get late at night when you lose a little bit of vision. Get like watery eyes or something. Ugh, not great. Okay. I would get like tears a little bit before when I'm tired. That's one way of knowing it. I need to pack it in. It's like watery eyes. It's not. Is that what's happening here? Maybe a little. But yeah, this is really fine pencil work. And it does bother me when my line isn't going to be as fine and precise as the pencil work. But you know, this is a hard. This film sets a high bar in terms of precision. But if you print this stuff out at the right size, a lot of times I have been improving over the line quality. But yeah, sometimes you get stuff like this where it's a very tight pencil that was drawn pretty big. I haven't printed it out quite that big, but it'll be okay. You know, for my purposes, it'll be okay. It's a pretty simple character, but yeah, there's always subtleties to it. It is so weird, like it's like inverted from how you'd expect that sleeve to be drawn. I guess that's what makes it like this Raggedy Thief cloak, though. It's not what I would expect. Subtle details, subtle details, subtle details. I can probably finish both pages of this tonight and then call it before 5. I just have to sleep when the sun is up, which sucks, but I've kind of been doing that anyway. I did nap earlier because I wanted to give my hand a break. So that, I think, gave me a little more of a lease on life to keep going for a little while. I do like doing a little extra above and beyond. As I scratch my nose, I'm definitely getting tired. Getting like itchy and watery. Where are the eyes, I guess? And I want to be cold. I don't think I can turn the AC on because there's some bullshit with the AC. It makes noise. Probably turn on a fan, which also makes noise, but it's noise that I think I've learned to sleep through. The AC noise, not so much. I'm not good with noise. I prefer a good signal to noise ratio. Oh, he said the thing. Okay. My hand has been getting a real workout. As I said, I did a bunch of printouts of the, I had a print shop do like Nintendo boxes for me and some other Thief in the Cobbler related stuff. So I got to do crafting on that, and that'll be a day's work if I do all that stuff. It took me 4 hours last time I did it. I think I got twice as much done this time, so yeah, that'll be a day of crafting. That'll be fun though. I'll post some pictures on social media of my custom Nintendo boxes of my own games. I keep hearing the air conditioner go off, but not here. I think it's for the one upstairs. We can just hear it like softly going off. Look, I kind of want that. To cool down a bit. It's late. I want to chill out. Cool party. The Ice Age. Like Arnold in Batman and Robin. I wish I was looking at the reference, because this is a little... It's not as bad as like literally everything else I've ever done that has a watermark here, but yeah, I'm just feeling a little ambiguous when I run across. What this guy didn't finish his ear either. And my hand has been getting a big workout these past few weeks. Could use a break, at least from this sort of thing. It'll get one. I'm done-ish. This is me winding down. I have been adding like just one more to the pile this whole time, but it's diminishing returns at this point. So yeah, we're basically done. That Screaming King Nod does appeal. There's a couple of King Nods that do appeal, but nobody's gonna think nobody's gonna care one way or the other if I do or don't. Whereas with some of this other stuff, it's designed to make like a better theoretical coloring book. Yeah, look at these little details on the boot. This is all stuff that is just drawn bigger. It's drawn with bigger and more detail than I can actually muster right now, but close enough. It'll just be close enough. Again, I think if you colored this, it would look pretty similar to the film. And I'll clean it up a little in post, to what extent I'm able to. But, yeah. Definitely some of these, it's like I'm cleaning up a nice rough pencil. But other times it's like, oh, the pencil's really tight and done really big, and we've got a really nice scan of it. And it's your big your relatively thick line is not cutting it by comparison. But, you know, if it's like a coloring book, it can be a little downgraded. That wasn't my goal with this stuff. I was trying to hit the original quality as close as I can. And sometimes you feel like you can, depending on the source material. But sometimes the source material is high quality. And was originally drawn quite large. And what you gonna do? What you gonna do? I'll tell you what you're gonna do. Well, I don't know if you're gonna ever ink that king knot over there. But I think this is the last thing you're gonna do tonight. Is this thing. And I don't think there's anything else even in the running, at least at this point, unless you like see something that you didn't print out previously and get if I get really interested and just want to suddenly do that. But yeah, definitely done-ish at this point. I think this should be the last page tonight. God knows I can't start on anything major at this point. God, listen to that squeaky chair. I think I can see the difference between the lines and the watermark here, but it is a little bit, when the watermark is there in full, it gets a little confusing. But yeah, I think I can see it pretty clearly. Anyway, on this printed, but this is a spot where it's a little bit. It's just a little bit, you know? God, I want a new chair. I wish I hadn't bought that other chair. I get sick of streaming and squeaking, you know? I hate that I'm squeaking this whole time. I don't know. I do know that this is going to be my last page tonight. And the last of this that I'm doing on stream, I think. And probably the last that I'm doing in full stop. This, they do all need photoshopping. That's going to be a big to-do to deal with. It's probably going to take about as much time as actually drawing them did. Which is wild, but probably true. Or at least it will be a significant amount of time. I'll say that much. But that's, I've said this, but this is why I force myself to do so much inking before doing any photoshopping. At least except for that first batch that I did Photoshop in full. I did 8 color drawings, which were very nice. But apart from that, I just pushed myself to keep working and just have this big batch that I'll have to deal with. Because if I stopped, I'd be like, well, I'm not going back to that. But if I've already done it all, it's like, well, I'll just keep on photoshopping it until it's all ready. Or even not. You know, if I don't actually get to it, I can leave it to future generations to deal with. But I probably will do the Photoshop because I need to. Kind of, I'm like hiccuping. Did you hear that gasp right now? I'm hiccuping. It's just my body being weird late at night. Weird and arguably hungry despite having been well fed today. Thank you. But thirsty sounds right. Thirsty definitely sounds right. I'm talking a lot, so thirst is part of it. Yeah, this is going to be the last page. I'm not exhausted. Well, I'm not consciously exhausted, but it is late. This is about as much as I can do comfortably today, because my hand is, and I'm just glad I was able to do some extra. Though now that I'm looking at it, like that is not like a perfect geometric situation here. Like, what is happening there? This is why you ink bigger, because sometimes there are little things that should be a certain way. I can fix it in post to an extent, but if the drawing is just kind of janky in general, that's when you have problems. I can make some of the details better. Yeah. Also, because this is pretty delicate line work, I hope it doesn't get messed up when I've got to remove the blue. That might also kind of eat at the black line art, but hopefully not. Be careful with it. A lot of times it has the opposite effect because you're drawing over the blue anyway, so that extra darkness adds to the line work. But then you can lose some line work later when you're inking over something which wasn't so dark. But God, yeah, this line that I'm doing, it needs a little cleanup, which you probably won't get as much cleanup as it needs, because it's just, this pencil is so clean. This pencil drawing, it's really cleaner than I can ink at this size. It's thinner. It's cleaner than I can ink at this size. But, my work is just gonna have to be close enough sometimes. In theory, I'm trying to achieve the quality that the original art has and capture its subtleties. But, on another level, that's not always It's certainly not the easiest thing to do. Sometimes, you know, the size I'm working at, it's not super possible. And I don't think it's going to bother anybody if it's just a little off, but it does bother me. If we think of this as a coloring book, then, you know, it can be a little off. That's not really how I was approaching this. I did want to try and get to the quality where you could color it and it would look like a cell from the film. I don't know. And it, you know, it gets pretty close, but not in every single case. When it has to imitate something this high quality and precise, not quite, but it is just a boot. It's a boot that is giving me difficulties right now because I've got to be precise, but it is just a boot and people aren't going to be that bothered about it one way or the other. Yeah, this is almost at the point where you could use that pencil as line art. Almost, but not quite. It's still always going to be pencil, but what they're doing is so precise. Come to think of it. Oh, I don't know, probably not. Probably not. I was just wondering out loud to myself if some of these things that I haven't inked yet could be just filtered away from the pencil to look like ink, but yeah, no. That one is a little rougher and actually needed my care a little more than this one does. This one I would be on the fence about. Maybe you could pull a line from this. I mean, probably not in most cases, but I do wonder. Yeah, that other one is it's a little smaller. It was penciled a little smaller and a little rougher. Okay, we done? We done. Thank you for being here. Hope you have a good rest of your